understanding and the spirit of humanity, along with the interdependence of every organism on each other, is the finest quality of an ecosystem. When we talk about an ecosystem of charity, we seek to empower, promote, and engender the feeling of compassion in the hearts of one and all. For it is rightly said that it is by giving to the society we give ourselves a gift of satisfaction and happiness. With this, we introduce our esteemed panelists. Our first panelist is Aditi ma'am. Ma'am is the Director Principal of Delhi Public School, Gurgaon, a visionary who believes that for the holistic development of young leaders, education should be an amalgamation of imparting knowledge, teaching life skills, and inculcating the spirit of community service. Ma'am is a sustainable leader, evolving and embracing the new normal in a world where change is the only constant. Shiksha Kendra, the afternoon school, is an example of a selfless service to uplift the children of the marginalized sections of the society. We, as moderators of this webinar, portray ma'am's belief in the power of youth in the digital space too. Ma'am, we are privileged to be mentored and guided by you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Dipali Sharma. Ma'am is a postgraduate in human resources. She possesses nearly 2 decades of experience in the field of recruitment and has worked with corporates like NIIT and Citigroup. She is the founder and director of Recruit, a sourcing firm that enables corporates to kickstart their gender diversity agenda and help women return to work after a long sabbatical. Ma'am is passionate about yoga, enjoys long nature walks, and loves reading poems in her free time.
Thank you so much, Tanvi.
Mr. Swaroop Kanti Bera. Mr. Swaroop Kanti Bera is the parent rep of Nursery. He possesses more than 15 years of experience of business and technology consultation with major MNCs. Mr. Bera is the founder member of Sankalpa, a crowdfunding-based social service group supporting high potential financially strained students to pursue their career aspirations. The social service group is running successfully since 2005 and has supported more than 100 students of West Bengal. Sir is passionate about social causes, especially in the field of educating and the underprivileged.
Thanks,
Ms.
Tanvi.
Kavita Tiwari. Thank you, sir. Ms. Kavita Tiwari. Kavita ma'am is with the DPS family for 15 years now. She teaches biology and is also the class rep of class 9. She was involved in the planning and the establishing of the Atal Tinkering Lab, an initiative by Atal Innovation Mission, Government of India, to foster the spirit of creativity and innovation among school children. As the in charge of ETL, she engages young scientific minds to think of innovations to make the country self-reliant. She also works with brilliant minds of Shiksha Kendra, who are given equal opportunities to present their innovative ideas through competitions and workshops. Ma'am's passion involves gardening, traveling, and listening to music.
Thank you so much, Tanvi.
Ms. Rekha Ajay. Rekha ma'am comes with a teaching experience of 20 years and is a member of the DPS family for more than 10 years. She is a passionate English teacher known for her warm and caring nature and is loved by the students. She is the teacher coordinator of the Interact Club and encourages and motivates her interactors to be compassionate and give their 100% towards all community services. She feels indebted to students of Shiksha Kendra for making her a part of their lives through various activities. Rekha ma'am believes that working with the students of Shiksha Kendra is like living her dream.
Thank you, Daksh.
Thank you. Ms. Sriparna Ghosh. Sriparna ma'am has worked as a content writer in a knowledge processing outsourcing. She has been associated with DPS Gurgaon in more ways than one. She was a parent rep and later joined Shiksha Kendra as a volunteer. Currently, she is working with our school as an English teacher. Ma'am is passionate about dance, music, films, and reading books. Ms. Pankhudi Agarwal. Ms. Pankhudi is an alumna of DPS Gurgaon. She held the post of head girl during the session 2015 to 16. She is the co-founder of Team Shiksha Kendra, which gives hands-on experience to students of Shiksha Kendra in the fields of co-curricular activities. For this effort, the team won awards such as the Proficiencies in Community Service, a bronze medal in Primerica Spirit of Community Service Awards, and a gold medal in Duke of Edinburgh. TSK deeply impacted her and motivated her to co-found another social organization, Infundo. Recently graduated from the National University of Singapore, Ms. Agarwal will start working as a data scientist at Basis AI in Singapore.
Thank you, Daksh.
Thank you. Anisha Senani. Anisha holds the position of Vice Head Girl in the Vice Student Council. A student of the Commerce stream, she is the president of Girls Up Club of the school, an initiative started by the UN Foundation for Girls to channel their energy and compassion to create awareness and raise funds for various UN programs. As a member of the Interact Club, she works closely with the students of Shiksha Kendra, sharing best innovative teaching and learning practices with them. She aspires to work with UNICEF in future. Today,
Thank you,
Daksh Kumbhat,
and I, Tanvi Nagar,
will be moderating this webinar and hope to learn from all our panelists. With this, we begin with the first set of questions.
We request our panelists to kindly share their views on charity in a single line.
Start with whom?
Ma'am, for anyone who would like to answer, it's open to all our panelists.
Charity is generosity.
Yes, ma'am.
For me, charity is a way of life.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe I'll just re-quote Winston Churchill that we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give.
In fact, that's our first quote we are going to begin with.
For me, charity is sharing.
For me, charity.
Charity.
Sorry, for me.
Sorry. Yes.
Please, ma'am, go ahead first.
Okay. So charity for me is service, and service, I would say, is synonymous to seva, which should be done with a lot of love and respect and not sympathy.
True, ma'am.
Adding on to that, I think charity is not only about making a donation, but it's about making a difference. So the impact and the intention is very important in it.
Perfect. Anyone
Just
else?
adding to what everybody else said, I think it's practicing compassion and kindness. Just rephrasing what everybody else just said. Beautifully said.
True. Thank you. So
You have to have a heart and will.
True, ma'am. So we begin with this quote, as Sir has already said it. So it was rightly said, we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. We have learned about giving, putting others before ourselves, and making the best of what we have from you, Aditi ma'am. The idea of service before self is instilled in every dip site from the very beginning. On this note, we would like to ask you, Aditi ma'am, about, ma'am, what does charity mean to you in your real life, and how does it resonate with you?
Thank you, Tanvi. I think in India, there used to be a culture of giving, which was sort of ingrained in us. So I remember as a very young girl, when I used to spend my summer vacation with my grandparents, and that's the time you have time, to get into the kitchen and look what's happening. My grandmother used to always make an extra roti. And that was to be given to the cow that used to be, roaming about outside the house. They were living in Moti Bagh that time. And I used to always ask, how do you know she will come? How do you know she will come? And why must you make it? Maybe some other house will give it. She said, no, she will come here. And if she doesn't come, when we go out for a walk, we'll give it to somebody else. Maybe we'll see, because in India, we do see stray animals everywhere. And I think somewhere in the subconscious mind, that thought came that you always have enough to give. And I think it became such a part of me that even as a young girl, I used to like to give gifts. I think I've always enjoyed giving more than receiving. Everybody makes fun of me that, why are you shopping so much? Is it all to give away? I said, yes, most of it is to give away, because I have cousins, I have friends, and I like to give gifts and things. But in the more tangible way, I think for me, it comes from a feeling of gratitude for what I have. And what I have is enough for me. I mean, there's, of course, a lot of room for greed. But if I just look at the need, I have enough. And if I have enough, why can't I give the surplus away? So almost cyclically we give away. In the Shiksha Kendra, we sometimes give money, sometimes I give an extra meal, sometimes I would buy pencil boxes for a whole class or something. So I don't think of it as a separate activity which I need to do. It's there. I have to do it. And fortunately or unfortunately, I had a very interesting speaker in our school some months ago who said we are very fortunate to be born in India where there is so much to be done. Somewhere or the other, you just look and there's something that needs to be done. So just do it. Get up and do it. If it's Shiksha Kendra, help there. If there's a flood somewhere, let's go out and help them. There's a drought somewhere, let's go out and help them. And I must say, as the head of this large DPS Sector 45 family, I'm very fortunate to have parents and children and teachers who share this passion and have come to believe that whatever we can do, we must do. That's my take, Tanvi, very briefly.
Thank you for being our guiding light, ma'am.
The next question is for you, Dipali ma'am. Ma'am is a parent rep and therefore an important stakeholder in the school community. We would like to ask you about how you practice the motto of service before self in your everyday life.
Okay, so like Aditi ma'am just mentioned, even for me, right from my childhood days, there was this environment of giving at home. Especially my mother, who was a homemaker, she would always give both her time and money to underprivileged children. Money, she would keep 100 rupees aside and every month, and she would call it dharmada. And when money got accumulated, then we would buy crates of Coke or chips or whatever children, underprivileged children in their daily lives would not get to have, would stand outside our society complex, and me and my brother used to distribute that to those kids. And then as we were growing up and her commitments with us reduced, she started teaching underprivileged children of the housemaids who were coming at home. And I think there are 7-8 children who actually completed their graduations and went ahead and worked with the organized sector. So, which is where I saw that environment right at home with my mother. And then when we were growing up at college for the first time, I remember there was this community service initiative which said, each one teach one. And as a part of that initiative, it was mandatory for us to teach one child for a year, basis which we were given certificates and grades, which was a part of our curriculum. And that, I think, was quite an experience where I really learned that there is service to be given before self. And then when I started working, there was a part of my salary I would always give to CRY. And now that I run my own establishment, there are 2 causes which are very close to my heart. One, of course, is education, and the other is cancer. And I believe that, like ma'am said, that in our country, there is so much of work that can still be done in both the fields of education by being associated with either non-profit organizations or an unorganized setup. Like there is this small school sort of a thing, which a journalist who's retired, who runs it right outside my society. He started with 10 children, and now he teaches 100 children in 2 batches, morning and evening. And now that I have my own work, I have these flexi hours where I go and spend time with these children. This was obviously before the lockdown, and now they haven't resumed until now. But I have found time out of my schedule to be with these children, spend time with these children. And I also ensure that my son accompanies me at times to see how privileged we are and feel that sense of gratitude. And, learn to give what we have and what we sometimes even take for granted.
Your words have truly inspired me, truly inspired us, ma'am.
They were really true, ma'am. So, Bera sir, this question is for you. We can't help everyone, but everyone can help someone. a lot of people have lost their jobs and their only source of livelihood in these unprecedented times. How do you think that we can give back to the society in our own little ways, even in these unusual times? Is it very different from service before the COVID-19 pandemic?
Oh, that's, I think, one of the most relevant questions at this times. I think, yeah, that's a bitter truth that yes, maybe a certain percentage of people have lost their livelihood. Some people have got major cuts in their salaries. Yeah, a lot of people have to move back without any support from the place they have their livelihood. So it's definitely a tough time. And yeah, there can be, when we say charity, I think I define that maybe with three P's. One is a typical pet project you can do. Maybe I'm taking the word from a corporate. But yeah, in the sense, we help people by giving, suppose I'm going in a car, somebody coming and asking me for some help and I'm doing it, right? That's normal, everyday thing people do. And then there can be a philanthropic thing we do with everybody has a purpose, like the Deepali ma'am just mentioned, and Aditi ma'am gave some example where you have a purpose and you continue to do some philanthropic work. And the third level can be a partnership, right? Where not only give you your time and passion, but you are basically enabling someone. And Shiksha Kendra is one of the best examples we have, right? So yeah, maybe that is the level we need to go, and everybody can contribute in their own way, right? In the sense, if suppose someone who is like, personally, what I am doing, I think Deepali Ma'am also just gave an example of one person supporting at least one person. Like when this started, the first thing hit my mind that, and it started very locally, right? In the sense, the person who used to serve us in the cafeteria in my office, he has no other source of income beyond that, what he was earning from cafe. So every month, yeah, I started giving him something at least so that he can support his family. And it again comes from that point which Aditi Ma'am mentioned, that yeah, we are that privileged set of people, right, who have that continuous source of earning maybe in this tough time, and also maybe having that kind of savings to sustain for a few months. But not everybody has that luxury, and specifically in a country like India, right? So yeah, I think the way to go ahead is definitely, if you can help by your some monetary support, that's one way of doing it. But the highest level of doing it is a partnership. And when I say partnership, it is more to give them time, help them find other jobs in your network, right? If somebody who is little educated, you can maybe tag the situation in a LinkedIn kind of a platform, or even if somebody who is a daily wage earner, you can check with other people if they need some support, right? Everybody has a good network nowadays through social media, through general your work environment, right? So yeah, not only by money is definitely something which you can give directly, but I feel to create a longer term impact, yeah, to have that partnership, take that ownership that I will make something for this person in next 2 to 3 months, find a job, or reskill that person as well, right? Maybe that person has the time now. Maybe you 2-3 months you support them in time, and in parallel you can also reskill that person so that he will be more relevant beyond what he was doing in his work, right? So yeah, it has more to do with taking that ownership rather than just giving that one-time support. That definitely helps. Not everybody has that luxury of time, maybe, to effort. But yeah, my request to everyone would be to at least find one person which you can at least pull. And I think at max we would have lost 20% of job. So 80% of people are still in job, or even worst case 70%. So even if 1 out of 3 people pulls one person, I think everybody is comforted, right? So we do have that advantage of numbers in our country. So yeah, that partnership, feeling of that partnership and going ahead is the way forward to have the complete upliftment of people who are struggling in this particular tough time.
Thank you, sir. This has actually given us a very different and a new perspective towards charity in the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you, sir.
Sriparna ma'am, this question is for you. It is rightly said that the best way to multiply your happiness is to share it with others. Sharing happiness indeed brings pleasure to the giver. Ma'am, could you please enlighten us on what our attitude should be towards giving back to the society?
So firstly, I would say you must believe in the cause. Okay, you must identify with the cause, because only then will you be able to passionately get involved, and you will be able to hang on to the vision against all odds. Because that's a crucial thing. Secondly, it's very important that we don't judge people, and we refuse to judge. Only then I think we would be able to, we are capable of boundless empathy. And thirdly, I would say one should do charity only when one wants to do it, rather than or only from a sense of duty. So do charity when you want to do it. That's all.
Your
Thank
words
you, ma'am.
truly resonate with us, ma'am.
Rekha ma'am is a constant source of inspiration, always helping us to find creative ways to give back to the society. The Interact Club of our school is led by ma'am, and it can be well said that all her efforts are directed in the right direction and aim to make the world a better place. So ma'am, we would like to ask you, how could our school work with government schools and old age homes in coordination to make the society a happier place?
Thank you, Tanvi, for that question. First of all, I like to share with everyone that we as DPS Gurgaon, we are a part of Hum Saathi Twining project, which is popularly known as Project Muskaan. And under this project, we have adopted 2 government schools. One is in Kanhai and one is in Gurgaon, one is in Jarsa. And we go there to share our best teaching and learning practices with them. So we started somewhere around in 2016-17, and we used to visit these schools thrice a week with a batch of 10 students, okay? And we used to make small modules of their syllabus, of their topics, to break it down, to simplify it, to make them understand better. We used to create charts and we used to make worksheets, and my children used to take it along. And not only we dealt into the academics part, but we also looked into the co-curricular aspect of it. We gave them hands-on experience in debating, in just a minute, music, dance, and so much so that we had sports days with them. We used to run races with them, okay? And slowly and gradually, a very strong bond was created. Even our French and Polish exchange students went visiting these schools, and they were mighty impressed by the way these children behaved with them. And it so happened that when we started in 2017, we used to reach there by 7:40, and the school used to begin at 8 o'clock. So that there was a window of 20 minutes, okay? As we started going slowly and gradually, we used to reach there at 7:40, and we used to see a good group of children waiting for us, and they would literally run towards us with open arms, and they would they would hold us and they would say, "Acha Didi, acha bhaiya, aaj kya padhenge, aaj hum kya seekhenge." And not only this, they remember the names of my students, and they used to ask me, "Aaj wo bhaiya nahi aaye, aaj wo didi nahi aaye." So what I feel is, if all the schools adopt government schools, I think we can change the entire, the kind of education we are giving to our nation. And as per the old age home, Aditi ma'am, I know few children who spend their times in old age homes. They go, before COVID, they used to go there, they used to spend time with them, do their chores, read out to them. So they were self-driven and they were self-motivated. Compassion came very naturally to them, ma'am. So I just want to thank you, ma'am, for giving them an environment wherein they could imbibe the real spirit of service before self. Thank you.
Thank you, Rekha ma'am.
Kavita ma'am, this question is yours. Everyone has many experiences about giving to others, and many have a turning point in life which changes their attitude towards giving and receiving. Besides, money can't buy knowledge, emotional support, and moral values. On this note, we would request you to please share with us a story or a personal experience you have had about giving back something to the society.
I'll just share with you I mean, my initial years of teaching, that was in a different school. There I taught for about 3 years, and then I came to this school. That's all experience I have. So in that school, I was a biotechnology teacher to begin with. Here also I joined as a biotechnology teacher. And I had that time class 11 and 12, so the teaching load is less. And so I also was given the class teachership of class 6th, which moved to 7th, and which we moved to class 8. I don't know how it happened, what I was talking to the children of those class 6th and 7th and to 8. I still remember those children very nicely. So they had to do one play in the assembly. And we used to have open ground. There was a raised platform, and there was this, the children used to be standing for assembly. And every day the assembly used to happen, and they had to perform. I didn't realize at all when they prepared it and how they presented. And each and everybody who was there in the assembly could make out that they were playing a teacher who was me. And there were children, some of the people were playing children, and part of the children, and they were poor children. And this teacher, she was telling her students how you can help people, and this is Diwali time. I mean, when you asked this question, it just came to my mind, and I had never thought about it for so many years. And those children, then they learned their lesson that, you know, caring, sharing is caring and all that. And they gave to the whatever way they could help the children. And those children were very happy that they had a very nice Diwali. I think before that, I had not thought much about, you know, how you, but that time I thought it means when you talk to children, some part in you is, you know, conveying something about what you feel from within. And it's though at my place, my mother always keeps saying the left hand should not know what the right hand is giving, and I'm a lefty, so yeah, the right hand should not know what the left hand is doing. So, but yeah, that was really very, very big point in my life, you know, to understand that how you can make a difference. It was a huge assembly with a lot of children, and how you can actually, you know, do small little things by making these children happy. It was really beautiful for me, and I think that was also a turning point. So that's a way of life, actually, as ma'am said.
Thank you for sharing this heart-touching story, ma'am. So the next question is for Pankhuri, ma'am. Prayer in action is love. Love in action is service. And there is no greater love than compassion in action. Pankhuri ma'am is an alumna of DPS Gurgaon and the co-founder of Team Shiksha Kendra. Ma'am, we request you to please describe your journey in DPS Gurgaon, what led you to found such a program, and what your learnings have been.
Thank you so much, Tanvi, for this question. Before I begin, I just want to thank the entire DPS Gurgaon community to inviting me here and to giving me this platform to share my thoughts. My entire journey through DPS has been such a fond one. And in respect to this webinar especially, I think through each opportunity from a young age, we've been shown very creative ways to give back to the society. For example, in Rakhi, we used to make small Rakhis which would go to soldiers. For Christmas, we used to have secret Santa lists, which we would write out, and you know, we would donate to, or whatever, give gifts to teams or to Shiksha Kendra. So I'm also a dancer, and when I think about Shiksha Kendra, I thought our DPS is such a beautiful platform for giving them an opportunity to learn, and the academic sphere is covered. But there may be a dancer out there, maybe there's a singer out there, maybe there's an actor out there. What about such opportunities? So I, along with my co-founders, Pranay and Divij, thought maybe we could do something here. Maybe we could provide them an opportunity to do this. So that's how we started out with the idea of Team Shiksha Kendra. And I was so young, I didn't really understand the impact it can potentially create. We just had an idea, we came up with a plan, and all our teachers and the entire community was very, very supportive to bring it to action. So my one learning from that was that if you have an idea, just come forward and share it with your teachers, because you will be supported to actually implemented. Additionally, one thing which was a big motivator was people around me. Multiple students started a cry for help. There was an organ donation initiative. So in entirety, the DPS Gurgaon community has always been very active in the spirit of giving back. They've truly upheld the motto of service before self. And that really, I think, pushes us to go forward and do more. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am, for your experience, for sharing your experience with us. Life is full of opportunities to lend a helping hand to those in need. And when we truly serve the society with our whole heart, we always get back a reward for our service. For what goes around comes around. Anisha, what does this message mean to you?
Thank you, Daksh, for the question. I think what you just said was extremely beautiful. Something that I've realized as being a part of the Interact team or working with various nonprofit organizations is that giving is receiving. I don't think there is any greater joy that you receive after you've done any special thing for somebody. So a lot of the times when you're trying to do something for the other person, whenever it makes them happy, or they express their joy, excitement, whatever it is, because I've mostly worked with younger children coming from underprivileged sections of the society, the happiness on their faces, the sheer joy and excitement of getting something as small as a lollipop and then their tongues turning green, it's so fulfilling. I think it is absolutely beautiful. So like you said, what goes around comes around, but that is not the whole idea with which you go in. Like ma'am said, I don't think philanthropy is just about, say, raising awareness or funds for something. It's about being disruptive, being compassionate, and understanding that giving is not a choice, but a way of life. And I think once you start believing that, nurturing those thoughts, and you're put in such an environment with your teachers, I think it just grows, and yeah, there's no greater sense of satisfaction.
Your words truly resonated with all of us. This was an interesting series of answers. Now we move on to the next set of questions.
Well, we would request all our panelists to describe in one phrase about their interpretation of the saying, "The purpose of living is in giving." We would request any of our panelists to answer. This is open for all.
So if, let me start. So if the purpose of life is to have a purpose, and one of those purposes is to be happy, and if happiness comes from giving, then it should be natural corollary for happiness to give. Because I believe in that, we've done that prayer quite often in our assembly. It is in giving that we receive. We receive blessings, we receive happiness, we receive a sense of contentment. And honestly, I mean, it's not happening now. Since I don't know when, the joy, if I can quantify joy in buying something for myself or buying something for somebody else, I think the giving away has anytime given me more than happiness than ever before. And perhaps in giving you also receive, because you're giving intangible stuff also. A smile comes back in many smiles. A light, kind word comes back in so many other ways to you. So I think there are no two ways about it for me, that the purpose of life is to be purposeful, and being purposeful means giving happiness, receiving happiness, and being happy. Thank you.
Now I would request Dipali ma'am to answer a question.
Are you going to ask me a question, or?
Ma'am, it's open for all our panelists. It's okay. We just want about the interpretation of the saying, "The purpose of living is in giving." Your opinion on this line?
Oh yes, certainly. I feel that from nature as human beings, we are so used to taking. Like a tree, we would sit under a tree and take its shade, or take a tree, take its fruits, vegetables. Then in general, from animals, from pets, we get so much of love. Say a cow, we would take, all the time taking from nature. But as beings of a higher consciousness, what we can give as humans is the happiness and love to anyone and everyone around us. And therefore we say we have to find our own cause. And I very truly believe that giving should come naturally to us. It is not something that we should ever doubt or question. So as a part of, and we are saying ecosystem, right? Ecosystem means that there are organisms that benefit from each other's partnership via a symbiotic relationship. So if there is a symbiotic relationship between us humans and the nature and the universe around us, then giving should come naturally to us. No two ways about it.
Now we request Kavita ma'am to answer our question. Ma'am, the saying is the purpose of living is in giving.
As I mentioned, it's the most beautiful feeling that you are able to see smiles on others' face, and that's the happiest moment also. That's what I would like to say.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we request Pankhadi ma'am to please answer our question in one phrase.
Sure. I think I'm a statistics student, so I'm just going to say, according to statistics, the people who give are happier, and that's what I want to say. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we request Rekha ma'am to answer our question in one phrase.
In giving, I feel alive.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we please request Riparna ma'am to answer our question.
So I'll take it from Dipali. Dipali spoke about a symbiotic relationship, the ecosystem, and where both parties are involved to accomplish their own goals. But how? So the giver should operate not from a higher pedestal where he's showing mercy, and but what is he getting in return? He's getting a chance to serve. That should be the purpose. And in the way, he also imparts greater dignity to the receiver. So that should be the intention behind service.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we request Swaroop sir to please answer our question in one phrase.
Sure, maybe I'll take a contrarian view, maybe not taking a little tough stance on it. Maybe, yeah, most of us, even though we are saying nice things, but we are chasing a lot of abundance, right? Everybody is chasing and earning more and more to have that sense of abundance that I have enough, right? With what I feel is abundance is not something you can never achieve a level where you feel I have enough, right? The abundance can only come when you give, right? That sense of giving gives you that I have enough to share with others. Otherwise, you can keep on chasing, keep on gaining materialistic things. You will never feel that I have that abundance, right? When we give, you feel that, yes, even if I earn less, but if I give, I feel that I'm still rich. But if you can earn millions, but if you feel that I don't have abundance because I still need to gain more, you will never be satisfied in life.
Thank you, sir. Now we would like to request Anisha to please answer our question in one phrase.
I think giving reminds me of how happiness is not a destination, but a journey in life.
Thank you. Now we move on to our last set of questions. Aditi ma'am, many times people get discouraged from doing social service when they feel cheated by an organization who asks for donations and use it for other purposes. How can we prevent such issues from arising, and how can we safeguard people from not falling into such traps?
Very good question, Tanvi. I think the one way is only donate when you can see in front of you. Don't donate to organizations that you don't know about. So for me, the choice is very clear all the time, every time that I have a Shiksha Kendra right there. There are enough people who need all kinds of stuff, from shoes to socks to bags to books to everything. I mean, I have an active group that needs stuff. In fact, I must share with you to Mr. Bera, he's being very modest and not telling us that it was he who started off a whole parents group who came to contribute for the Shiksha Kendra. Was it 2 years ago?
It was last year, ma'am.
Last year. And the whole group came forward that we want to give. And I actually behaved like the mother of so many children. So I said, I can't give it to just one group. It has to be to the entire Shiksha Kendra. So a lot of them came together and gave bags, books, stationery inside the bag, so many things. So give where you can see it being given. That is my first lesson. And supposing you're not part of Shiksha Kendra, or you have given enough, you want to try something else, try and give something tangibly where you can see it. So there is, like I know about this Earth Saviors Foundation in Gurgaon. They're doing great work. You can see that they're doing great work. It cannot be that it's not being done. Go and give over there. Go and give in the blind school. You know they're looking after children. Then you know that they need stuff. And I think it gives me a lot of hope, because one year I remember 2-3 years ago, I wanted to give something and I went to the blind school and I asked if I could sponsor a meal, any meal that they wanted. They could have asked for anything and I was ready to sponsor it. And they said that they are booked for the next 2 months. Breakfast, lunch and dinner. Some families had booked either for in remembrance or for a birthday or for a wedding or for the general happiness. So I came back feeling so happy that, 60 days means 3 meals. So many meals have been already sponsored. So I had to wait for 3 months, for the 3rd month to come. So always give where you can see it being given. Otherwise, what normally happens, if you give and you are not sure where the money is going, you will lose interest. You will not want to give it. That's normal human nature. So give where you can see it being used wisely, properly, in the right way. So that's my only advice to people who want to give. And I hope everybody does want to give.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, we'll always keep that in mind. Dipali, ma'am, this question is for you. Our school works in coordination with several organizations like Akshay Patra, the Indian Cancer Society, and Gunj. How are these beneficial for the students? And what other initiatives can children take part in to help the needy at the level?
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Tanvi. I would say that all these initiatives that the school is a part of is really helping each student to become a responsible citizen and have a well-rounded personality. Like children should be taught to see the world as it should be, not how the world it is. And when they are a part of these initiatives, they really feel that in whatever small ways they should make a difference. Like there is a very simple quote from Mother Teresa which says, "It is not how much you give, it is the love with which you give." And this gets fostered in each child. And thank you to Aditi ma'am and the entire team, that whichever children of TPS I talk to, I see that spark of loving kindness in them. And I think the school has a big role to play in this. And as they progress in life and be a part of the society or of organizations where they can make an impact, I'm sure they will continue to be a part of various CSR activities, either as a part of a corporate or when they are entrepreneurs themselves. And as students, I just feel that the school is already doing a lot, and I'm really thankful to Aditi ma'am for that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Veera sir and Sripanda ma'am, this question is for you. Do you believe charity at the individual level, like feeding stray animals, helping out in homeless shelters, is a step towards a bigger change? And what steps could we take to benefit a larger community at a local and thereafter a national level? Veera sir, request you to please answer first. Sripanda ma'am, you're next.
Sure, I think as I think there's the common tone what we are hearing right now, right? I think most of the people are sharing the experiences of the past at their early part of their career or early part of their upbringing, right? And right at starting at their home, taking that example from their mother, right? So I think it comes only when you start in a very early age, right? Right, and it becomes a part of your upbringing. Right, and as I was mentioning in my last answer as well, that it doesn't need to be I think just now Dipali also mentioned the same. It doesn't matter how much you're giving, right? It is the habit of giving is something which is more important, right? And yeah, I think if you are seeing you are in an environment like fortunately all the DPS Gurgaon kids are actually getting that kind of exposure, bringing in the right age. I think this is what is needed, irrespective of how much money you're giving, even if you're contributing your time. Anything small you can do in your individual level. Tomorrow, when you reach in a corporate high or maybe running your own business, that can transform into a much larger quantum, right? So yeah, it cannot come overnight. Just because you have become a CEO of an organization, it will not come to you overnight. It will become CSR will become a burden. And I think, as Pankhuri was mentioning, it's about statistics. I think McKinsey has done enough research to show that companies who are doing a lot of CSR, they have a much higher retention rate and much happier employee and much content people working for them, because they see a purpose for the organization they can relate it to more rather than those hardcore capitalist organizations. So yeah, it can start small and it can transform into a much bigger, larger scale as these young kids will grow up.
Thank you, sir. So we would like to ask Kavita ma'am and Pankhuri ma'am, what do you feel about giving back to the society, and whether it has a role in shaping students to become compassionate leaders in the future? Also, what other benefits does it have for students at the macro level? We request both of you to please keep your answers short, since we just have 12 minutes left. Thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah, Pankhuri, go ahead.
No, ma'am, of course, after you.
So, so we imbibe from what we see, right? So basically, when these children, or anybody for that matter, they see others doing good things, good deeds, any good deed. That can be planting a tree, it can be watering the plants, it can be taking care of the animals, the street animals, or it could be helping children, or it could be in any form, floods, or I mean, our school gives us so much of opportunity to, be part of small little things that that make difference, I guess. We are actually making leaders for future if we ourselves are setting examples, and we are actually moving towards a society where there will be respect for each other. The boys will be respecting the girls. They will know how the social behavior has to be, and how they have to be aware towards waste management. They have to be self-sustained. I think that all comes from what they see around them. That's important.
I think adding on to what Kavita ma'am said and focusing on your question about the macro level impact which contribution to society students can make. First, I would like to say, when anybody starts an organization, they not only help those people who they directly target, but they also encourage others to start organizations or to contribute, volunteer, etc. And thus that ends up having a ripple effect, which instead of just impacting the targeted individual, has a much larger impact. Additionally, for students, a lot of focus is often on education and on IQ, but when habits such as giving back to the community are inculcated, we can also build up EQ, which really has an impact later in life when you're working in the corporate space or anywhere else. So I think, yeah, giving back not only improves oneself at a macro level, but also has an impact on other people. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now we request Sriparna ma'am to please share her thoughts in brief about charity at an individual level.
Every drop in the ocean helps. So I would just say people should not just feel it, but come forward and act upon it. Just walk the talk. That's all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Rekha ma'am, we are very pleased and feel happy within ourselves when we give to others. How do you think we can spread this message about the spirit of giving to others?
Spirit, thank you, Daksh, for that question. When we say spirit of giving, that means it should come from within. It is something related to your soul. And you don't have to wait for big things, big initiatives to get connected to. You can start on your very small level. You have to live by your own example. It is not that you have to follow someone to give. You can give yourself. Okay. For example, in this cold, you have a security guard in your tower and he does the night duty, he takes care of you. A hot cup of tea early in the morning will not only lighten up his mood, but will also give him immense pleasure. A sense of belongingness would be there. You don't have to wait for someone to look at you and to pat on your back and to say, yeah, you are going the right way. No, as Siparna ma'am said, every drop in the ocean counts. And it's up to you if you want to. I lie on my bed after sharing. I have a very comfortable and a very peaceful sleep because I know what I am supposed to do. I am doing. Being human is what I'm supposed to be. So I request each and every one of you to go out and do your little bit around you and be happy within. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
We completely agree with your views, and it has been a pleasure to hear these enriching opinions. These all have left us with a food for thought.
Now, we request Aditi ma'am to please share her thoughts in today's session before we close the webinar.
Okay. I didn't know this was going to come up. So I'm very happy that both Daksh and Tanvi moderated very professionally, I must say. Having done the moderation for 9 out of the 10 webinars, I know it's not easy to keep time and to keep questions and to stick to the theme. You've done admirably. I'm very proud of both of you. And I'm very happy that we've had a big audience listening to us. I hope that something that we've said reaches out to you. And all of you learn to give. Because I repeat myself, it is in giving that we receive. And I must thank everybody who's present here, teachers who represent the larger teaching body. Whenever we have reached out for help, they have given with an absolutely open heart. And same with the parent group, same with the student group. I think I feel very blessed that I have people who have their hearts in the right place and trust in the work that we all are doing. Thank you, Pankhuri, for joining us. Your TSK is still doing well. The little seed that you sowed has borne fruit. And I think the children involved in TSK are enjoying it as much as the children of the Shiksha Kendra.
Thank you, ma'am. It was rightly said by Mother Teresa, it is not about how much we give, rather how much love we put into giving. We are truly delighted and enriched by the insights of our mentors and guests. It was a great source of learning for all of us.
We sincerely hope for many more such webinars in the near future. The fond memories of this day will be cherished by one and all alike, and this day will go down the memory lane. Now, we request everyone to please exit the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.